Welcome to the Golden Road Podcast.
We fell in love at a wedding,
walked across America,
and now travel full-time in our self-converted school bus.
We've got a lot of stories to tell, so let's get to it. Welcome back to episode 3 of the Golden Road Podcast, take 467.
We are your hosts, Matt and Grace. We're happy to have you here for episode 3. Today, we're going to be talking about our last few months in California, selling all of our stuff, taking whatever leftover stuff we had back to Boise, Idaho, burying food and water in the desert, and making our way to Huntington Beach, California to start our walk across America.
Yeah, that's a jam-packed episode right there, full of some good stories, if I do say so myself.
We're going to be honest with you. We have already tried recording this one time. It was over an hour and a half, I think. So we're trying to get ourselves in the right mindset of still bringing that same excitement and still bringing all the details we did before. But as you might know and maybe have experienced doing something that took that long over again, think about writing an essay. Man, if you wrote an essay that was 10 pages long and then it got deleted, doing it the second time.
It makes you want to take your face and slam it against the brick wall.
But we're going to regroup. We're back. We're here for you guys.
Here's the thing. When we all get through this, we're all going to go, hey, and then reward yourself in whatever way you love rewarding yourself. All right, let's take it from the top, I guess, which would be packing up all our things.
Before we continue, what was this about rewarding yourself and yelling, hey? Okay. Here we go, guys. We're back in California. We had decided that we wanted to walk across America in January, like we talked about on last episode. We knew we wanted to sell all of our stuff because there's a lot of stuff we knew we didn't need. And also, our goal was just kind of to finish the walk and see what came afterwards.
Yeah, we definitely, while we, wanted to raise funds and awareness for Time in a Bottle, and that was the main goal of the walk, we also had the goal of creating a social media platform while we walked. Our goal was to hit 10,000 followers at the end of our walk, and we thought if we had that, we might be able to really make this a thing and full-time living off of it. So we went into it with the mindset of that's what's going to happen, get rid of everything.
Yeah. Also, during this time period, so we had been in Cedar Rapids, Iowa, taking back Grace's car.
Yeah.
And we were driving a van on the way back, and our goal.
Florida. Everybody, say it with me now.
Orlando. We didn't start from Florida, but the van was from Florida. Yeah. And we're driving this thing back to Clovis, California. And we were going to bury our food and water. We kind of already had everything mapped out, and so we knew the stretch. We thought we did.
Super early. We had stopped in Phoenix to hang out with my friend Noel and Austin for the night, and we left super early in the morning. We're like, yeah, we're burying our food.
We had some dehydrated foods. We had about probably 10, 15 gallons of water, 1 gallon jugs.
We show up to the spot where we're supposed to be burying our food and water, and it is a miracle that Enterprise vehicle did not get stuck in that sand. Oh my gosh.
We should have known not to go down this road. There's a bunch of private property around, and here we go down this road. Soft sand, we weren't too concerned. And then all of a sudden, it was like you're in quicksand. It was probably 3-4 feet deep of sand.
It was really bad.
And so we just stopped, and number one, we're thinking we can't bury our water here because we're not walking through here. Number two, we got to get this van out.
Yeah.
And so we had Grace get in the driver's seat. Somehow we got it turned around, or you jammed. No, you went in reverse before you could turn around because you got up on a little bit more higher point.
Oh, yeah.
Because I was pushing from the front.
And then I just booked it. He was like, press the gas. I floored that thing and got out of there as quick as I could.
She drove it like half a mile away.
Yeah. There's a video on our YouTube, actually, of when we buried the water, like the first time when we had tried, and it's Matt just holding the GoPro as I'm just flying down the road. So we didn't bury the water there, but it was good because it helped us to realize we did not want to walk through that section of the desert.
Well, we also went right after this. We met up with our buddy Thomas, who had also walked across the United States. We met him on a Facebook group called USA Crossers, and he gave us a bunch of different gear, and then we kind of told him what happened, and he gave us a different route, which was probably 40 miles north, which ended up working out great for us long term. I didn't know what I was mapping, and we went a route that other people have gone. That was a paved road, an actual paved road.
Matt did most all the mapping. I said most, and I thought I literally didn't do anything there. But one of the things that you don't really like, you can look at those routes and try and figure that stuff out prior, but there's really not that much that you like. It's kind of a just go with the flow thing. Like if you're listening to this thinking you're gonna want to walk across America, look to an extent, but also everything's gonna change.
At all times. And something's gonna happen and you're not gonna be able to stay on according to plan. But anyways, we got some gear from Thomas. He gave us our other route. We're back in Clovis, California. We're packing up. We're finalizing sponsorship stuff, finalizing our website, feeling really good about our social media platform going into it.
Side note, one of the things we kept is the world's best glass dry erase board. We have that saved for whenever we have a home one day.
A lot of brainstorms.
Yeah, a lot
of Afro Man and a lot of brainstorms in that kitchen. We're there, and we knew we had to go back out to our new route now to bury food and water. So probably a couple weeks later, it was a 4.5 hour drive out to this stretch, and it's 29 Palms, California to Parker, Arizona. It's 85. People say it's 100 miles. The sign says 100 miles. It's actually 85, I believe, miles of no resources, gas station to gas station.
So they're going to need to redo that sign.
100 sounds way better than 85, but it was actually 85. So we went out there, and we get hangry quite a bit. Most of our discrepancies in our conversations come from when we're hangry. Not only were we hangry, we left really early. We had the 4.5 hour drive.
And I'm not a morning person. If you wake me up early, pretty much count me out in about 5 hours.
And we hadn't done anything like this prior. People were like, how did you do it? We really just took our watches. Grace, show them your watch. We took our watches and
Garmin.
We went probably, how far off the road would you say? 30 to 4.
We went far enough where we felt like if someone saw it or something, well, we didn't want anyone to see it because we buried it, but we wanted it to be far enough out that it was like kind of hidden too.
Yeah, and I had tried looking up YouTube of how deep do you need to bury the stuff, yada yada. Ultimately, didn't really find anything. Basically, dig as deep as you can and then make sure nothing's showing on top. And some of those spots were really easy. The first spot, we were like, wow, the sand was so soft. We found the first spot. We didn't find the second. But the first spot was super easy. And what we did was basically every 10 to 15 miles, we buried some water, a couple gallons of water.
And then we put in our notes, like, what we would mark the coordinates on our watch. And then we would put in our notes kind of what, like there was a big bush or what was around it.
Yeah. And so we did that. We don't need to get into the desert stretch yet because we're going to save that for episode 4. But after we did that, we made our way back to Clovis. We got packed up. We're selling our stuff. We ended up with a U-Haul with, what was big in that U-Haul that we had to carry? Or it was just...
what did we bring to your brother?
Did we bring my bed?
No, I feel like we sold the bed or we got rid of
it. We had the big chest. We had a couple pieces of stuff that we didn't want to give away. Most of the stuff we did get rid of.
Yeah, most of the stuff we kept was like mementos or things that we knew we would use again afterwards, like camping gear or fly fishing stuff.
Yeah. So now it's in September and we're driving this up. It's really end of September 20th or something like that.
Yeah, it's a quick turnaround.
Grace's car is now in Cedar Rapids. We no longer have that. The apartment's cleared out, really, besides the cleaning supplies we needed.
Yeah.
And did we keep, and our car, Timmy was in there.
Yeah, and then we kept like a couple of clothes that we knew we were just going to donate.
Yeah.
Just so we had a couple things to wear.
But we went back. I sold my car to my brother. We organized the boxes we had, and then we got another rental car to come back down to Clovis. And
I can't remember what kind of car that was.
It was a smaller car, I feel like.
I thought it was bigger.
I have no clue.
I don't know. It doesn't matter. But I just thought,
But now we're going down. It's into September, and we're thinking, okay, October 2nd, we're leaving on our walk. We were feeling good because we now had everything taken care of besides the apartment, but we knew we'd have to go down to the apartment and clean it.
Yeah.
And then check out.
Fantastic job at. We cleaned the heck out of that.
Cleaned the heck out of it. They said they've never seen it so clean and we should be an example for the apartment complex. Ended up getting like $2,000 back because they even let us get out of our lease early.
Yeah.
And they said people had been waiting. So if we cleaned it so well, they could get someone in there right away.
So we got money back
for our month deposit and that.
Yeah.
So it was like 2 months, which was awesome.
We're pretty jacked about that.
Yeah, super jacked.
The next day, we gave the keys, loaded up into, we went and stayed at our friend Allie and Brooks's house for the night. And then at the next morning, Allie drove us to Enterprise Rental at the Fresno airport, and we got a rental car.
Now, before we continue, it's important to note that I picked up Grace's wedding ring in Boise when we went back. So from
Engagement ring.
So from that point on, I had this ring with me. Really no place to hide it. I had it in a drawer at my parents' house, and then it was in my duffel bag with clothes. And then once we got rid of the duffel bag, I had it in my pocket until Grace over at Allie and Brooks's she was just doing whatever. And
that makes this sound
in the living room couch, everybody. And I was like, okay, I cannot hold that ring in my pocket anymore. I was she didn't make any comment or anything. So I was like, she didn't see.
Of it, yeah.
So then I put it into I had 2 pairs of shoes. So then I put it into one of my shoes, and that did fine until we made it to Huntington Beach, but we're going to hop back. The story's kind of intermixed.
Yeah, well, there aren't even that many details we need to give leading up to what we're about to say there. But we got into a rental car, drove down to Huntington Beach, met with my parents at an Airbnb where we stayed a few days prior, like right on the beach. So it was fun to kind of be like, oh my gosh, we're going to start walking. But before we left, we wanted to do one of those classic lay out all your gear drone photos. And so I get super OCD. So I'm like, Matt, step aside. I'm organizing and laying all this out. And as I was putting his shoes and stuff, he had the ring hidden in one of the shoes, and you were so scared.
She was looking basically straight in it unintentionally. I'm like, holy cow. So right after that, I then changed it and I put it in.
If I would have found it then, would you have proposed or no?
No, I don't think so.
Nice. Just wondering.
And so then as soon as everyone I was stressed out, we took our pictures, but I immediately took the shoes inside with my clothes. I grabbed the ring, and it sat in one of we had some of those sealable bags.
Yeah,
and
bags.
It sat in my winter legging. We had some winter leggings for when it was going to get cold, and I knew we weren't going to use those for a couple months. And so I put it in there until the proposal. Yeah. And never close to being seen.
Yeah, because why would I go through our winter bag, which was smart to put it there.
Thank you.
Yeah, but so my parents are already down, and then Matt's parents came down with his cousin Bailey, and that was the first time that our parents had met. So they met right before we embarked on Walking Across America, which is kind of funny.
Yeah, and we had a really good time.
Yeah, it was fun. Went to the beach.
Went to the beach a couple times, and then October 2nd came.
The start of the walk.
It's time to walk. And I'm feeling a little bit stressed because we've never packed up Timmy with all the supplies, food and all that. And so it's the first day of trying to zip him up. And I'm thinking of how much a pain in the ass it is to zip him up. But it wasn't that bad. It was more so everyone's there and then everyone's on their own schedule. Well, I have this. I
was stressed because you were stressed. And then my mom was trying to help by making us hard-boiled eggs and bacon and stuff. Which is funny. We do not eat that now.
I just wanted to go. The way my brain's wired is I knew it was October 2nd. We'd been planning this thing now since January. And I'm finally ready to go, and now I have to wait. And that's something I have to work on still, and I'm still that way. Yeah. But if it's the date to go, I'm ready to go, and I want to go now.
Yeah.
But we got that figured out. Grace and I and Foxy went down to the beach prior to kind of just soak it in for a second. It was a workout and a half getting it to the water.
Yeah.
The sand was super thick, and we got out there and
we dipped. Everyone came down and we dipped up. And the friend we were talking about prior, Thomas, who lives there, he came out to see us too, and we dipped the wheels into the water. And then, did we dip Timmy's wheels into the water when we?
Yeah,
ended?
we did. Yeah, we did.
Okay.
Yeah.
I was like, I don't remember us running.
No, we did. Yeah.
But what was I saying? I got distracted. we dipped the water or the wheels into the water, and then everyone's like, woohoo, getting to start. And then we go turn around, and it was so anticlimactic because we all had to push the cart back out of the sand to get back onto the pavement. So it was like, bye, but also let's keep walking together. I don't know. It was like not awkward, but kind of funny.
After we said our goodbyes, really nice walking trail along the beach for probably a couple miles.
Yeah, there are palm trees, guys going out and surfing. Like, it was your classic California scene.
And the feelings at this point, really none for me.
I didn't have any feelings.
It was just
other than holy shit.
Yeah,
I have to walk every day.
It made it easy because, and I think one of the easiest things you can do if you decide to do something like this is to sell everything, because you have nothing to go back to. There's no reason to think, oh, I have my house, or I'm going to be scared about this. We already sold everything. We're either going to do this or we're not. And so we just started walking, made it to the Santa Ana River Trail.
Which, before we started, someone told us that there were a bunch of rattlesnakes on. So
I feel like we saw a sign too.
I don't remember. Maybe. I just remember being really nervous about that because I do not like snakes. But we were walking. It wasn't bad. It was just really hot, and it was just kind of like we were listening to music and we were having a good time. But like we were looking back at the highlight videos, you can tell that we're not fully in it yet.
There's also, while I wasn't having a lot of feelings, there are a lot of emotions of we just saw our family. Now this is a long adventure that's going to take probably 6 months to do.
And so sad?
I think I wasn't sad. I'm just, as usual, thinking about a lot of things. I'm thinking about, what I like to think. I do live in the present, but I also look into the future a lot.
Yeah.
So right away, I'm enjoying the moment, but I'm thinking, what happens after the walk? Like, this is day one. What happens after it? Never a doubt that we weren't going to do it or weren't going to be successful with it, but what comes after?
The difference between Matt and I, which I think can give us a good balance, but also sometimes can cause, like, I don't want to say issues, but can cause more of friction, I guess is maybe a good word, is that Matt thinks way into the future and I'm like, what am I going to have for lunch? So that's what I was thinking about.
I feel like I feel like we've been having more friction lately.
Yeah.
But I don't really think it's bad. I mean, I just think it's a growth cycle. It's not like I love you any differently or you love me any differently. It is what it is.
Yeah, no, it's just, we just think about things in different ways. And I think, like, looking back and watching the first, highlight on Instagram of our walk, like, you can just tell that our heads are in two different places.
Well, you do a much better job than me of being present-minded. I'd like to think I am, but I am always thinking it's terrible. Anyways, a little bit about us.
If you're still here, hey!
So now we're back to day one. We're on the Santa Ana River Trail. It's hot. We're kind of figuring things out.
We walked through our first drive-through. I think that might have been our only drive-through we walked through.
We tried walking through other ones, but I think that was our only successful walking through.
Yeah, we got some Fantas before I learned that Fanta has.
Didn't we get high C?
I felt like I got a Fanta.
Maybe
I think I said I got
did.
a Fanta. I'm all.
Oh yeah, you were
sugared up.
Yeah, you were sugared up.
Yeah.
And at this point, we're trying to plan where we're gonna stay. We knew we were gonna hotel through California for the most part, because especially the first few days, because of how big the metropolitan area it goes and goes and goes and goes and goes. You're seeing people all the time. We had camping experience, but stealth camping in a city wasn't something that we thought about of wanting to do, especially at the beginning of our walk.
Especially like Anaheim.
So we're planning to go to this hotel. We found one that was right off the trail. And
when he says right off, he means
directly
right off the trail.
And so Grace gets done booking it. She says, all right, we're good to go. We only have however many miles left. And we get going, and I'm looking at the distance, and I'm wondering, why do I feel like we're going over the mark we set for ourselves?
So then I was like, I remember we were under a bridge, and at this point, again, hungry. So we're kind of being sassy at each other. And I was like, just let me look really quick. Let's stop in this shade spot. So I looked. There is nothing worse, especially when you're on something like a thru hike or a long adventure, than being the one who is booked something and looking at it and realizing that you did something very wrong, and you now have to inform your partner of what has happened, And when I say what has happened, I mean adding on 2.4 miles to.
Is that what it was?
Yeah, that's what we were.
Oh,
yeah.
Which isn't even that far.
No, but when you're hungry and you already only didn't want to, we already were doing more than we wanted to do.
Also, those first few days were long. I mean, we didn't do any preparation. Physically, it wasn't really exerting. I mean, we could have kept going, but being in the heat and just trying to figure everything out, I mean, it might sound easy just to keep walking across America, but there's a lot of things that come with it as well.
I would say I don't think the walking is what's hard. It's all the other stuff. But
we finally made it to this hotel. And
it was an extended stay in Anaheim. It
might as well have been a weed dispensary.
Yeah,
besides we didn't get any.
Yeah. We woke up the next morning. So many people had smoked, and I don't know if it's just because of the vents or what, but so many people had smoked. We felt so gross and groggy, as if we had like hit 50 joints the night. I mean, like, it was bad.
In a warm shower. Like, the feeling of it, you felt it when you walked in the first day of, okay, there's definitely people smoking in here, and it's maybe not the cleanest.
Yeah.
But in the morning, when the air's settled down, it's a little bit cooler. It is
horrible.
We got the hell out of there quick.
Yeah, so we left, and as soon as we leave, we walked 2.4 miles back to the trail. Literally immediately, we get back onto the trail, and to the right, there's the hotel we were supposed to stay at. Looks way nicer, but whatever. Doesn't matter. We kept walking.
Now, before we go into all these stories, there's going to be a lot of stories on the podcast. There's going to be a lot of days. California, we had about 2 weeks. Let's focus on a couple stories here.
Yeah.
If you do want to reference our walk on Instagram, we've documented all of it on our stories.
Yeah.
We also have some YouTube videos out about it as well.
And we're going to write a book, and that's where it'll be like the real, every single day detail. These are just kind of our main stories.
Now, do you want to tell that long walk story to the hotel?
Sure.
Okay, so this was our longest day right off the get-go. This was day 3.
4.
Day 4, and we were really only planning on walking 15 miles for the first week and a half to get used to, but it doesn't work out that way.
Yeah, it never does.
So this day we wake up, and where did we wake up here again?
In Banning.
Oh, this is the story we're telling.
Wait, what story are you telling?
The hills with the hotel.
Oh.
That story's good, but you can reference our Instagram story for the one we're talking about where we walked through a bunch of hills.
Yeah, the one that's good.
This is our most notorious story, maybe.
Yeah, you may have heard it.
Maybe of all time. We've said it on several podcasts. This is our 35-mile day to an adults-only hotel.
Yeah.
It starts off in Banning, California.
Which prior to arriving to Banning, we had been told, just kind of be careful, which the more you walk, you realize, there might be a spot where you need to be a little bit more aware, but you're fine for the most part. You're fine. And Banning was probably the least scary place that we went to of all the places. But
a lot of places were least scary. It doesn't matter. But yes.
But because of that, and because it was the beginning, we had that in the back of our heads. We were a little bit nervous. And so we decided to get a hotel. And so we got a hotel, and this was going to be like what we thought our last hotel for a while. And so we left in the morning around 6 a.m., probably 6:30. We start walking. It's good morning, brisk, cold, it's feeling good.
Yeah.
We take a right off the main road, and we go back down to, we're going by cows. We're talking to the cows, singing music, all this stuff. And then we come up on a dead end. Well, a gate.
Yeah, and we're looking at Google Maps, and it says and it was a long stretch too, which is also why I got stressed out, because I'm now looking at Google Maps, and at this point, pretty new to figuring it out, and hadn't learned at this point that Google does make mistakes.
A lot of mistakes.
And it says private property, and we're thinking it wasn't a mile stretch where we could have just hopped the fence and made our way through quickly. It was a long stretch.
And it was like not a mountain over there, but it was kind of, it was more, it wasn't just, walking through a neighborhood.
It could have even been part of the reservation.
Yeah.
We didn't know. I mean, I don't know.
True, yeah. That would have been bad.
But we're looking at the maps, and I just tell Grace to figure it out, because I get to the point where I feel like I've been doing all the planning and stuff, and now it's not working, and I'm just like, I don't want to deal with it.
He just kind of shuts down. So, which is fine. We all have those certain things. And so because it's fun.
Oh, yeah.
And so I took the phone, we sit down on the curb, and I'm looking at it. I'm like, okay, I think I found a new route. Let's go. So we start walking, we get back to that main road that we were on, and then this time, instead of taking a right, we take a left. And we're going back down, we pass, these houses and stuff, some nice words, like, okay. And then up on our right, we see a big gate and stuff, and we're like, oh, dang it, because it is a Indian reservation. And already, some of them might be hard to get into just in normal everyday life, but we're in the thick of COVID. And
maybe not the absolute thick, but leading up to that. It's October.
Well, we were like in the middle of the end of that first round.
Yeah.
Like, stuff was still strict,
it still was not contained by any means.
Yeah, no. And Indian reservations got hit really hard, and so they like super shut down. And so Matt walked up to them and said, not sure what the situation is here. We're walking across America. We need to get through. This lady was terrifying.
She was big. She had full arm sleeve tattoos, neck tattoos.
In fact, when we walked back on our highlight stories, I said him. I think I thought it was a guy at first.
You did, yeah.
But no, she was just...
And she was actually really nice. She just said, there's no way you're getting through here. But maybe if it wasn't COVID, there might have been a chance of talking her out of it. But she was like, we can't let anybody through here.
Like, when she first took those steps out of the thing, I mean, she was mean mugging.
Oh, yeah. she was mean mugging for sure.
Yeah.
And so I said, okay, well, do you know how we can go this direction? She said, if you just go back down to that main road you were on and take a left.
Ramsey.
It'll just take you alongside the interstate. And I'm thinking, I don't know, but okay. So we start walking back that way.
Yeah.
We pass this little homeless encampment almost. There was probably 20 to 30 units, really small. I said 20 by 20 yesterday, but I think maybe even 10 by 10 boxes. I think it's something that they're trying to use to help people, but at the same time, it was sad. It was a really sad environment.
It was just like right next to the interstate. I mean, it was nice in a sense of, okay, yeah, it's giving shelter, but it just felt like
they've been given up on almost.
Yeah,
a sense.
It was sad.
And so we get to that point, and now we're looking at the same situation we were before with no road to get past the interstate. So Grace called.
Well, yeah, we walked back to this little parking lot where we stood, and I called the non-emergency dispatcher, and I said, here's the situation, here's what we're doing, here's where we're trying to get to. She was so nice. Mm-hmm. And she said, like, I told her exactly where we are. She said, walk down the road. It's going to be kind of on the interstate for a little bit. You're going to go dirt, but then it's going to turn into a frontage road. So I said, okay. So I hung up. I look at Matt. I relay the information, and Matt goes, are you sure? So now I'm thinking.
Well, and Grace with phone calls, too, is she really means the most. She means the best, and she's really trying to listen, but she can't listen to it all. So she'll pinpoint a couple details, and maybe they make sense together, but maybe they were put together in a different way, and other information gets left out. So you were on the phone for 2 or 3 minutes figuring this out. So I'm like, are you sure? Because I am looking at this road, and I don't see how we can do that.
So then I thought, you're right. I'm not really sure. I mean, like, I'm talking side note really quick. If you ever have anything important to tell me, please don't do it over the phone call. Don't send me an audio message. Please.
Probably don't text either, because you might forget that.
Yeah, send it in an email.
Or a handwritten letter.
Yeah.
With a magnet so she can put it on the fridge.
Yeah. And it will still probably take me 3 months to respond to you. But
she calls back. She says, my boyfriend doesn't think I'm communicating the right way. Can you tell him?
And she laughed because she was like, I understand. And so I handed the phone over.
And she said the exact same thing. I tell Grace what she said. Grace said, yeah, that's the exact thing I told you. Get on this frontage road. It should take you right alongside the interstate.
So we think, what the hell?
We then see this homeless guy coming from that little homeless shelter area, walking onto the off-ramp. And I'm just thinking,
well, if he's doing it.
Yeah, we can do it. There's no signs or anything.
Yeah.
Granted, it's the I-10. Cars are zooming by. 3 lanes just jam-packed.
He explained it well yesterday. He was saying it's like like how you'd imagine space. All of the
It's like Star Wars. You know the Star Wars racing with Anakin Skywalker
yeah.
zooming by. That's the I-10 in California if you haven't been there.
And we had to walk on it. And so we get on and we're walking.
And it wasn't It wasn't bad at first. I mean,
No.
really wide. It's not really a shoulder, but just gravel.
But, yeah, like we weren't stressed out about it or anything. And then we got to a way station and we thought, okay, let's see if we can find someone at this way station who can maybe help us out, because we didn't want to walk on the interstate. And more importantly, I think at this point, we didn't want to get in trouble. And so we were like, okay.
And we were just confused. I'm like, how long are we going to have to walk on this I-10 for?
Yeah, so we're just trying to get more information. No, like literally, I don't even know if they were just prop cars or what. Nobody was at this way station. Matt went up to the doors, couldn't get anybody to come help us at all.
Yeah, so we just said, okay, well, I guess let's keep moving on. We're not going to stick around here and wait for someone to go on their lunch break or something. So we get going again. We finally reach this bridge.
Well, but I think it's funny to note, as we were walking back onto the interstate from the exit to the way station, there are all these semi-trucks who are parked on the side waiting to go away. And we're just with our little yellow vests and our teacup Yorkies sitting on top of our car, walking by, waving at people. We're like, hey, how's it going? I just feel like I wish that we could speak to those people and just know what they were thinking.
Probably nothing. Probably just like, huh.
Okay, quick side note, the Amtrak just went by. We're in Winter Park, Colorado. The Amtrak just went by, and it was one of those Amtraks with the
two-story?
The ceilings on the top where it's a clear glass.
Oh, sick.
Yeah, so side note, this is not sponsored by Amtrak, but you should definitely go on some sort of Amtrak ride. Okay, so we get to the bridge.
Okay, we get to the bridge. It's probably 100 yards. Again, keep in mind, 3 lanes, pretty jam-packed traffic. So we're thinking, okay, we're going to have to sprint across this. So we're going to wait until until we catch a little break. And so we're waiting there. The homeless guy actually went down through the ditch. He didn't mess around with the bridge.
Yeah.
But we had Timmy and we couldn't do that.
Yeah.
And there's no shoulder or anything. So I believe.
No, like literally not a small shoulder, literally no shoulder.
And Grace was in front of me and we had Foxy on the top of the cart. And we said, okay, ready? And then as soon as that last car went, we sprinted, and we have never ran so quick in our life.
Never. I mean, that was track star.
I asked Grace why she wasn't in the Olympics.
Yeah, we were actually giddy afterwards because we ran so fast. We got up to the other side, cleared the cars, we're good. Because every bridge, and this was our first bridge, but every bridge after that, like all bridges became pretty much a 50-50 chance of trying to get across and hope either cars get over, you don't get hit, whatever.
Well, yeah, we'll tell more stories about bridges in our podcast to come, but bridges were probably the scariest thing that we encountered on the walk, and things that when we came across them, it's like, okay, let's just get across it.
Yeah.
But anyways, we got a cold beverage stop. We got some vitamin waters. We're feeling a little bit jazzed. Now we're feeling better because we're not on the I-10. We're heading the right direction. We're back on track.
Yeah.
However, we had planned on making it to this desert area, which was it was probably at like the 20-mile mark. And we had a long day to go still. We barely made it out of Banning.
Yeah.
So we get walking.
There was an outlet mall, and so we were like, oh, this will be fun. Let's walk through the outlet
mall. The most bougie outlet mall in the middle of nowhere you can find. All the top brands. I mean, Grace was so excited, and we're not even going in the stores.
I didn't even know those stores had outlets. But we were walking, and our original thought was, oh, let's just walk through this. It'll be a little bit more interesting. Maybe we'll get some publicity. People might follow our Instagram because we had like a big cardboard thing on our cart. Nobody looked at us. But
in fact, they were trying to avoid looking into our eyes.
Yeah. And so we were walking through. Come to find out, you couldn't get through. So then we added more on because we walked all around this outlet mall, got back out onto a side road, kept walking. And at this point, we are hangry. And again, we are running into a COVID situation of restaurants and stuff being closed. So the only thing that was open was Burger King.
Yeah. And at this point, we've done pretty good with Grace's allergies. But this is also the point where we started to break those rules because you just couldn't eat enough food, and we're
so hungry.
You really can't find those options. It's not like you're in a car and you can at the end of the day go drive and pick up a bunch of stuff. You're walking and it's whatever's along the route that you get.
Yeah. I walked into there and I was wearing my yellow vest, and there were a bunch of motorcycle guys in there.
That's right.
Them and then me. And the lady asked me if I was a construction worker, and I said no, I'm walking across America. and she gave us an extra Big Mac, which was super nice. They were about to close or something, or they like accidentally made an extra one. I don't know.
I think she gave us several Big Macs.
Yeah, she just like loaded that bag up. So we sat underneath the giant dinosaurs of Cabazon, drank some of our I think we probably got sodas or something. I don't know.
I'm sure we did.
Yeah, we were drinking those, eating our burgers, and that was a good time to just kind of regroup because it had already been like this is still that same day of leading banning.
I have had this thought several times the past couple of days, and if we could do it again, I would somehow try to figure out the diet wise, because that really set us back afterwards, and we probably would have felt so much better even on the walk and waking up.
Oh yeah.
I mean energy drinks, sodas, fast food, candy.
Not only is that stuff bad just for any human being, but then I'm allergic to so many of those things. Like, it's crazy now looking back at the things we ate. I cannot believe it. And no wonder. I'm surprised we felt as good as we felt.
After we got fueled up, we're now still heading towards the desert area. I don't remember our mileage at this point. We're probably 11 maybe.
Probably, yeah. We walked across like a bridge thing to get onto a frontage road on the other side of the interstate. And we're walking along that. And this one, we're having a good time. We're full. We are walking faster than the traffic in California. So that is making us laugh. We saw this vegan couple, which the only reason we say they're vegan is because they had a big giant sign about.
Yeah, that's our way we know them.
Yeah, we don't know their names. And they were sitting, they had their bike, and they were sitting
before we saw them, I first said, should we go over there and say hi? Because I'm thinking maybe they're doing the same thing we are.
Because they were young. Like, they looked just young.
But they were making out and doing whatever else vegans do. I'm just kidding. We're vegan right now, so I can say that, I feel like. But so we decided to pass on that little ordeal.
Yeah, we just kept walking.
And
like, it was kind of weird. They were just sitting underneath this billboard on the side of the road.
I get they were catching some shade. Maybe they're not like us and don't like walking in the middle of the heat of the day.
That's true.
That was like what? That was 1 p.m.
Yeah, it was hot.
So we finally crossed the road over to this small little town. There's nothing there.
No, I wouldn't even call it.
I believe was the Continental Divide Trail sign there.
The PCT is there, and so I got kind of excited because I've always walking across America is never something that ever crossed my mind, but the PCT, the Continental Divide Trail, like, those are things that I think would be so awesome. So I got super excited because I thought, wow, we're kind of doing something like that, like I've always wanted to do. And so that gave me my second wind. But for you, it started to pull you down because of what you had to push Timmy through. Yeah.
So right after that, we're in the desert area, which is kind of where we were going to stay, but I think energy-wise, we were also feeling pretty good at the same time.
Well,
or we were thinking about our day to come afterwards, and so we were trying to really set ourselves up. Do you want to do multiple however many mile days, or?
Well, and we kept, like, because I remember we kept looking at little dirt spots and thinking, oh, we could camp there, but we just were wanting something better to come along because we worked right on the side. Like, there weren't a lot of spots to hide, rest. I mean, now we would have probably slept there, but back then, we're still at the beginning.
No problem. We would have just crashed there, set up our tarp, made some shade.
Yeah.
We passed a visitor center or a rest stop area, and we didn't need water, but it would have been great to top off. However, there was a fence on the back side, and we couldn't get over to it without making a long duration. So we kept walking, and there's some solid dirt ground, but there were also some parts where it was thick, and you're really putting a lot of effort into pushing this cart. So I'm still pushing. Grace is asking, hey, do you want me to help? I'm saying not yet. And we finally make it up to a bridge of the White River.
I think so, yeah.
If you haven't heard of this, it's in California there, outside of Desert Hot Springs.
And it's crystal clear water, like raging rapids. And
raging so fast that they opened the area 2 weeks prior and 2 people had drowned. So there's a guy named Scott there guy named Paul there who is making sure that no one goes down to the river.
Yes, and also, side note, they do not know where this water comes from.
No.
And
it supplies, I believe, almost all of LA with their water.
Which is crazy.
If not a bigger section of area.
That's something we'll have to talk to Trent about. Maybe he knows about that.
Yeah.
Anyway, side note, though, so we go up to there, and Paul's like, you cannot get down to that water. And we said, that's great. We don't want to get down to the water. Like, we just want to cross. And then he told us about the people who passed away and stuff. And we said, we just want to get across. Like, is this road good to walk on? Can we keep going? And he said, oh, Grace, we got a picture with him. And we kept walking. And then we start going up this hill. And now we're going up towards the top of where all the windmills are.
Now, what is this wind farm area called?
I don't know what it's called, but it's the biggest in North America.
And I pass off the cart to Grace, and as soon as I do, there's gusts of wind going uphill. The cart's being pushed uphill by wind, and Grace like, wow, this is great.
My hands were not even on the cart. Like, it was just, you can see that in our highlights on our stories too. The cart is just pushing itself up the hill. So I'm laughing even more, which who knows how that helped your mood.
I wasn't in a terrible mood. I was just hungry mainly. We barely ate any food that day.
And it was so hot, and at that point, and the only thing we had eaten was sodas and Burger King. And
terrible. So terrible. But we get up to the top of the hill. I take over. I'm like, I got this.
Well, it turns to like moon dust again.
Then it turns to moon dust. We're kind of lost on these side dirt roads.
We feel like we're on private property.
We kind of reanalyze Google Maps. We get back on the main road.
Right when we got back onto that main road, quote unquote, it was a neighborhood.
Yeah.
But it was paved, which is a main road. But right when we hit there was when we hit our first ever marathon.
Yeah, and at that point, were you pushing them for the most part after that? I feel like you kind of took over.
Yeah.
And we had some fruit snacks, got a little more power, a little more energy, looked at the map, and we said once we get down the hill, which is only another mile and a half, we're just going to kind of set up in this area. And honestly, the area wasn't bad.
It would have been a great spot to stealth camp, except for the fact that we're in North America's largest wind farm. So as you can maybe imagine, it is fantastic wind conditions.
We couldn't get the stakes in. Grace is sitting there as we're trying to get this tin in the ground, and the flap is hitting her in the face over and over again. I'm looking at her, and it's flapping her in the face, and she's like, how's it going over there?
I was probably just so delusional and I was smiling. But
you were having a great time getting hit in the face by the tent flap.
I handed Matt the bag of corn nuts, and I was like, please eat these.
And then we packed up because we're like, we're not getting this thing in the ground right here. It's just not happening. And
we kept walking, and then my biggest concern after that was it was getting dark, and I was getting scared about rattlesnakes. I have like a super huge phobia. My phobia used to be of bees. I do a lot better now there. Wasps still serve no purpose, so I still do not appreciate them. But rattlesnakes, hell no.
Yeah. So I didn't really feel like you were that scared of rattlesnakes.
I felt like I was scared.
Oh, you were at one point. Because I tried to go off to
and because we got on the Facebook, and so someone probably said something, so then I started thinking about it.
Here's our thing with the Facebook, right? So we had a lot of support right at the beginning, which was awesome. A lot of moms out there. Love moms.
Love moms.
Before
you say that, our pages at this point, especially Facebook, was probably 100 people.
Yeah.
So it was 100 people who knew us, loved us, and had strong opinions.
Yeah. And so we're hopping on, and we're just trying to talk about our day and stuff. And now it's pitch black. And now we've got everyone saying, you can't camp tonight. You need to go and find a hotel.
It's not safe. Go camp. There could be rattlesnakes. It's dark. Go get a hotel.
And I don't blame this part about Grace, and I don't dislike it whatsoever. But also, if you influence Grace with a hotel or a nice meal or whatever, she's like, that's probably what we should do.
They said they'd pay for it, so I was like,
she doesn't care at all about doing stuff like that. I have a weird complex where if I get spoiled too much, or if I'm in a hotel room too much, or yada yada yada, I start thinking, dude, are you tough?
I love gifts.
Yeah. And it's to the point though where we're at 29 miles and we have to decide what to do, and I'm just thinking, you know what? Whatever. That'll get us a shower. That'll get us someplace where we know we're good for the night and we can reset tomorrow.
So we're at whatever mileage.
29.
It's dark and we turn around.
We walk 1 mile back and
take a left.
From our direction, yes.
Yeah. Could have been a right.
Your directions have been getting better.
Thank you.
Which is
great.
I
can just imagine that scene.
It's crazy how you can imagine that, but if we're in real life in the bus and you're given a situation right at a stop sign, right or left? Left. No, sorry. And so yeah, we finally get back there. Now, Grace had picked us out a spot.
Yeah, okay, so I got, as soon as we decide we're getting a hotel, I get on Hotel Tonight, and I'm looking, and everything's about 6 miles away. And so I was looking, so I found, because they're all...
Desert Hot Springs area, which we weren't planning on going to because it is off our track.
Yeah, so I'm looking for a pet-friendly place, reasonably priced, as close as we can find it. So I find that, and I book it, and I'm like, hey... check this out, because Desert Hot Springs is this cool like spa area with all these hot springs. The hotel that I found us was this adult only spa. Like, this is gonna be awesome. In my head, I'm thinking I am picturing this beautiful, relaxing space with these amazing pools that are bed. Like, I just am picturing
at 9:30 at night after a 35-mile.
Yeah, I am picturing the spa of all spas, and so I'm jacked. And so we're walking. That's keeping me going. We're walking, and then we're getting into town. We're getting a little delusional. We're starting singing songs. Yeah. And
here's a 7-Eleven. We look at each other. Do we need to get a cold beverage now? Do you think there's going to be another opportunity? Yeah, there should be. We're not even into town yet.
Well, and it was across the street. So we were like, do we want to cross the street, or is it probably going to be? Because at that point we were so tired that crossing the street felt like a huge task. And so we thought, no way that either our hotel's not going to have cold beverages. Hotels always have cold beverages, vending machines, some. So we thought that, or there's gonna be more things near our hotel. We keep walking. Matt's like, "What? Where are we going?" And we keep going. I'm like, I don't know. Classic another situation where I'm like, I don't know. It says keep walking.
But to be fair, I mean, I kind of put you on that task, and those were long days for everyone.
That's true.
And we were just getting started.
Yeah, that's true.
I mean, but this was day 9.
Was it that far in?
I think so.
I thought it was day 7. Okay. It doesn't matter.
No.
7 or 9, 12. It wasn't that far. But anyway, we are walking, and I'm like, and so we start getting out. It was a small town already, but we start kind of getting out of this town and into a neighborhood. I'm like, what the heck? And so we keep going. I'm like, says we're almost there. Says we're almost there. Says we're almost there. And then all of a sudden we hear this super loud EDM music. And I'm like, oh, someone's having a house party, And we get closer and closer. I'm like, that's not our hotel. Like, someone's having a party. And we see this one house with all these cars outside. So I was like, they're having a party probably. No. We get closer and closer. It is 1,000% music coming from our hotel. So I'm thinking, oh my gosh.
Grace is we think she's still wearing her headlamp, her green vest, obviously sweaty and dirty from the day, a little bit haggard out.
Yeah.
And she just says, Grace is really good at when she knows I've had a long day or something, she then will take control. But if I don't reach that, it's the weirdest thing. If I don't reach the point, it's like, will you do that? Will you go run that? But as soon as I reach that point, she's like, hey, let me do this for you. Maybe we could work on a medium of before I reach the point and have a breakdown, you hop in there and maybe take control.
That's fair.
Regardless.
That's fair.
She says, hey, you and Foxy stay outside. I'm going to get this figured out.
Yeah, so I walk up. It's this big brown, like, arched door, kind of beautiful door.
Was it made of mahogany?
I don't know. I think I had to call her or something. I'm not sure. I called and said, hey, I'm here to check in. This lady opens the door. She's in this, like, nice robe thing, like a flowy robe. She has short little white blonde hair, like pixie cut, these moody glasses. Older lady, probably not like old, but I mean older than me.
Nails were cut, clean toes.
I'm trying to set the scene. I know. And so she opens the door and she goes, hello, welcome. I can't remember. It was called like Oasis or...
Do that voice again for people at home.
Hello, welcome. And so she opens the door and she says that. So I'm immediately thinking, oh, geez. Between the music and the way this lady has just opened the door, I don't even know what is in front. As soon as she opens the door, I look behind her. There's this giant Buddha statue at the end of this huge pool. In the pool, people are making out. There's drinks all over the place. Like, music's blaring, lights low. Weirdly enough, to the left, though, as you walk in, there's this big glass window, and that is where her and I think her husband live. And they were just watching TV, like, watching everything unfold. It's a little weird. I don't know. Anyway, she's like, hey, yeah.
Look at them in the pool, tongue deep in each other's mouth.
So she's, explaining to me. I tell her, the day we've had, so she's kind of gonna speed up this process a little bit. So she's telling me the different pools. We're looking at them. All the rooms. It's kind of like a hostel in a sense of all the rooms are right there with the doors, but every room's individual. You don't share with people. And then she takes me into the communal kitchen. She goes, "Yeah, we have a cannabis keg, like free to use, blah, blah. At this point, we had decided before the walk that we were not going to be doing drugs, and so I was like, great, can't use that. Thanks for showing it to me." So now I'm like pissed off because this place could be awesome. I would love a cannabis keg, but I needed to now go get Matt, and we are going to sit in this room. And so I go back out. I go and get Matt. We had to carry Timmy up all these stairs.
Looking back, I would have totally had some of the cannabis keg.
And used the pool.
At the time, and that's kind of where it comes into mindset though, because looking back, yeah, I totally would have just said, F it, we're here. Let's enjoy the pool. Let's enjoy the cannabis keg. Then I also had morals involved though too of we're only on day, whatever it is, 7, 8, or 9. And we said we weren't going to smoke marijuana or anything.
We said we weren't going to smoke marijuana. And I had done Adderall prior. I was prescribed it. I have ADHD. And I had been on it for 2 years. But I had noticed, I got a bunch of work done. I definitely was addicted to it. And when I would be without my prescription, I felt like I couldn't get anything done. I would go crazy. And so I realized that obviously that was an issue.
Really proud of Grace. She hasn't been on Adderall since we left on our walk, which was over a year ago.
Yeah.
And
I just cut it cold turkey that day.
But if you're on Adderall at home, and that's no judgment here, no judgment at all. But we believe that there are definitely long-term negative effects of it. You become reliant on it. Yeah. And for Grace, I felt like it completely changed her persona. She was able to get a bunch of stuff done, right? Yeah, Adderall is great when you can get a bunch of work done, just go ham, awesome.
Yeah, but it took away my creativity, my kindness.
Just even communication, yeah. She was so zoned, which is I'm happy to see you're in the zone working wise, but also I can't have a conversation with you.
Yeah, I wasn't a good partner.
But if you are if you use Adderall, especially on ADHD, Grace can answer any questions you might have, and it has some solutions too.
Because I know it's a hard thing, and the hardest for me, I obviously still have this is a total side note, but it is important, and I obviously still have ADHD, and I'm always trying to figure out what are the best ways for me to get work done or be effective, or how do I refocus if I'm struggling, or blah blah blah, all these things, and I've tried out different medicines and stuff. But it is a hard thing, and I think it's something that's not really talked about because it's so easy to just get on Adderall. It really is easier than it should be, I think. And it's not, I don't want to say it's a cop-out because I know it does help so much, and it did really help me, but at the same time, there are other ways to learn things and figure things out, and your brain is special for a certain reason. You are a special human for a certain reason, so try to figure out how to handle why does your brain do that, or maybe accept it that sometimes you're just gonna be a freaking spaz all day. Like, that's okay, but just kind of figuring it out. I don't know. That was kind of a rampage, but I would love to talk to you about it if you want to.
No, and I mean, it's not a rampage and a rant either. Like, our podcasts are going to be stories, but we're also going to intertwine a little bit about us and how it relates to the story.
Yeah. So at the start of the walk, I had stopped doing that. And then we decided we weren't going to smoke marijuana, and we had said we weren't going to drink, but that pretty much went out the door the first hot day when we wanted a tall boy, but we didn't drink like a lot.
No, we would have tall boys on really long days.
Yeah, but those were our things. Like, we wanted it to be a very, like, we wanted to just really be clear minds for this walk. And so I go out, get Matt, carry him in. I'm like, haha, there's a free cannabis keg and this. And we get into the room. The bed was very comfortable, but we get into the room, shut the door. I sit on the ground. I just start crying. I feel horrible. I mean, this place, music's going to be blaring until 11 p.m. We've walked 35 miles. We haven't eaten anything. It was so hot all day. We are now 6 miles, not even in a direction.
I wasn't even thinking about that.
Well, I was thinking about all that stuff. So I just sat on the floor.
Yeah, but that's because I'm hard on you, though.
Well, it's okay, but
I mean, not really.
Well, no, you're not hard on me. I just know you're thinking about all those things, and I get stressed out because I want to try and help you, not be stressed out.
Yeah. Anyways, we had a little cry. We're both like, it's all good. We ordered Del Taco. Del Taco was very underwhelming.
No, yeah, it was horrible. The only place that we could find, we thought we'd be able to find, this town is not a big town.
No.
And so the only we could get was Del Taco. It took forever to get delivered. I'm pretty sure it was like still cold. It wasn't very good.
Keep talking.
So obviously we were bummed about that situation. And then as soon as we got, I remember we went to bed. I do remember waking up in the middle of the night, grabbing that high C. It was still cold, and drinking from it. It was pure magic. The next day we're going to end on this next day because we're going to do California in 2 parts because there are a couple more like long stories.
Oh, yeah.
But the next day we gave ourselves a short day. We did like 6 miles. We started the morning at a breakfast place. It was really good.
Yeah, and again, looking back, another rule. We've come up with a couple rules. Another rule we found out, and not even at this point, you take advantage of your hotels.
Yeah.
If checkout's not till 12, you stay there until 12. We could have done the cannabis keg in the morning in the pool had I been thinking properly. Instead, Matt Groom's here. We got to get up. We got to get going. Freaking right away in the morning.
Come on. No, you're being hard on yourself.
I know I'm being hard on myself.
No, you were really sweet that morning because you were like, hey, let's enjoy this little town. Let's go get like we went and like had a really nice brunch.
Yeah, the brunch was nice and super inexpensive.
Really cheap.
Desert Hot Springs, I would definitely visit again in a more relaxing way.
Yeah. And so then we left, and then we just walked on the side of the hot interstate, and then we had a guy drive by.
We weren't on the interstate then.
Not the interstate, but like a busy side road.
We had another guy named Scott.
Scott came by, and he was like asking what we were doing, I think.
He said, well, he was like, which way are you heading? And we told him up this hill, which we're going to leave for episode 4. And he's like, yo, man, that is a super dangerous road, and there's no shoulder. He's like, can I give you guys a ride? And we said, well, that's really nice of you, but our thing is we've got to cover the distance on our feet.
Yeah, like we're not taking rides.
We took rides north or south to get to people's houses or something instead of walking extra 5-6 miles.
Yeah.
But as far as connecting where our feet started from ocean to ocean, we couldn't let that go away. So we're like, hey man, we can't do that, but do you have any advice? And he basically said, I would run with traffic and like just book it because it's windy. People drive terribly and there's no shoulder. We're going to save that for the next episode.
But he had pulled over and he goes, we said no to the ride. And he goes, well, can I give you my bag of weed? And we were like, no. And so
we have to also decline.
Yeah. So he said no to that, walk a little bit further, go back onto this dirt, like BLM land. And we set this little tarp. It's so hot. And now we just are sitting roasting in the desert all day, like frustrated. He's playing his damn harmonica. I remember I had to walk away.
That was one of the most longest days. I mean, literally in the middle of the sun, trying to get shade, and then
we had no food. I was trying to figure out if I could DoorDash us out to that spot, but we were like, no.
Yeah. But that's where we're going to kind of leave this. We have a couple long days ahead of us in California. Really just one long day, and then we have our desert stretch to Parker, Arizona.
Yeah. Which like a lot went down in that whole time. That'll be a really fun next episode. Thank you so much for hanging out with us.
Yeah, we appreciate you guys.
We love talking to you guys. We hope we maybe made you laugh, think about some things. I don't know. Either way, we hope you leave having a fantastic day, and we can't wait to see you next time.
Make sure, depending on which platform you're on, to click like,
subscribe,
click share,
follow.
But nonetheless, we thank you for being here. We thank you for listening to us. And next week, we will have episode 4 on the rest of California, our desert stretch, and continuing to walk the walk.
Love you guys. Bye.
We'll see ya.